Hello. Today, I would like to talk to you about how to conduct your NGO board meeting. Do you have NGO board meetings that are not productive? Do you have meetings that are very antagonistic and you don't get anything done at the end of the day? Well, stay tuned and watch on the magic way on conducting a board meeting that will give you the impact you need to move your organization forward. See you in a few seconds. Hello, my name is Efwa Ede with Social Impact Consulting. We're a development consultancy firm that's here to help you maximize social impact. Follow us on the link above to keep track of our videos and content like this. So I'm going to talk to you today about how to conduct an effective board meeting, okay? So the first thing you need to do is to carry your chairman or chairperson along in your meetings. Make sure that they are in the know on how that meeting is going to go from start to finish, okay? Also, if you have other board members that may have issues on what you're going to be talking about in the meeting, make sure you meet them one-on-one. If there are any issues that they may be having, they can hash it out with you offline before you get to the meeting. And if you still can't seem to gain a consensus, you can now think about strategically how you can answer that question to carry the rest of the board members along while you're conducting your effective meeting. So let's get started. First thing you need to do when you're starting your board meeting is to make sure you have all your materials ahead of time. There is nothing so inefficient and unprofessional than not having your things ready. Make sure that the projector is ready. Make sure all your presentations are open on all the tabs on your system to make sure that you're able to have a fluid flow in your meetings. In addition to that, if you make sure you have your agenda, your minutes, and other supporting documentation that need to be in print. There was a time I actually conducted a board meeting and I was trying to be friendly to the trees. I said, let us save the trees. So I wanted to make sure that everything was electronic. Let me tell you, it was a disaster. And my chairman had to let me know that that was an ineffective board meeting and that should not happen again. So after that, I made sure that everything that needed to be in print was in print on everybody's desk, and everything that needed to be electronic was electronic, and everything was in order on my tablet, okay? So what you need to do is welcome everybody for coming. Remember, as an NGO, these board members are volunteers. They're not getting paid to be in your meeting. So if all of them are there, make sure you take time to thank them for coming and thank them for their passion, for your organization at the time. The second thing you need to do is read out the agenda. When you read out the agenda, if anybody has anything else to add in the agenda, it is time for them to add that at the time. Make sure that your chairman is in charge of reading that information so that they are able to smoothly facilitate the meeting, okay? The next thing you need to do is read out the minutes from the previous meeting. If that is your first board meeting, make sure you take very good notes from that meeting and all the meetings onward, okay? In the board minutes, you need to have who attended the board meeting, who was absent, the agenda of that last board meeting and the content of that agenda. And you need to talk about what people committed to in that meeting and whether or not it was done. And that would be a good time for people to now say, hey, this is the status of where things are based on my previous commitment. That keeps things moving forward, okay? Once you have all that information out, then the chairman will now ask, okay, is there anything that was in that meeting that was excluded in the minutes? Is there anything anybody else needs to add or take out in the minutes? Then people will be able to say, hey, we move that the minutes should be as they are, or they should be as they are including X, Y, and Z, or as they are excluding X, Y, and Z. All in favor say aye. Everybody say ayes, and all the ayes will have it, okay? So that is the minutes of the meeting. Following that, you will now have each of the board committees present their reports. The composition of an NGO board needs to be as follows. There needs to be committees for each department of the organization, not to be overseeing the operational side of the organization, but looking at things from a strategic standpoint. I'm going to talk about that more in another video, and I'll let you know when that comes up, okay? So the committees will make sure that they give a report. Their minutes will be the same. What was committed to and what was done and what it is moving forward from the last board meeting. So that will happen in that presentation in the meeting. So after the committees make their presentations, it will now be time for the executive director's report. That is a very, very important report. The executive director will be talking about the following. They will talk about where they are financially in the organization, because annually the executive director presents the budget, the annual budget. So in this specific report, the executive director will now talk about, okay, how much have we spent in the month of August? Is it what we projected to spend in the budget? Are we where we need to be? If we're not, how are we going to make up the shortfall? If we have excess money, what's that money going to be used for? Is that going to be balanced forward to September, moving to the rest of the year and the year after? Those are things that the executive director will address. Also, administratively, are there things that need to be addressed? Does the board member need donations? Does the board member need to donate things to the organization, like chairs, tables, money, any other in-kind donation that needs to happen? So that's what's going to happen in the administrative aspect of the presentation. Also, strategically, where are we in the strategic plan? Are we where we need to be? If not, what needs to happen to fulfill our strategic plan? So that's what will happen in the board meeting. And also a call to action for the board members. What does the executive director need the board members to do? Is this something that the committee needs to do, or is this something that each board member needs to commit to? And then it's up to the executive director to then follow up with that board member once they make a commitment. So that is the executive director's report. After the executive director's report, it will now be any other business, okay? In any other business, if there's anything the board member needs to talk about, they would now talk about it there. For example, if a board member is retiring from their organization, and they need other board members to attend, that could also happen. If there's any event that the board member is having that thinks that the organization will play a key vital role, that's a place that the announcement can happen, or any other business that needs to be announced during that part of the agenda. That would then be announced then, and then the meeting will now be adjourned. What happened in this board meeting? It's a meeting that moves the organization forward. That is the key. As a founder and an executive director, as you're working with your chairperson, you need to see how to move the organization forward. One thing that you need to understand is that you need to be in sync with your chairperson. There was a chairman that I met when I was the executive director of Junior Achievement. He told me, he said, "Efwa, I am your chairman, I have your back. Make sure that I am in sync with what you're doing so that we can move the organization forward." So if you like this content, like and continue to follow us on social media to get more content like this. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next video.